Hi,
Bill.
Hi.
Hello.
We have New Mexico represented. Jane, say hi.
Oh, wow.
Hi.
We
I
have
don't know
Delaware
if it-
represented. Delaware.
Oh, hi.
So we got people from all around. The rest are in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Okay, we got a couple Connecticut's there. I see three, 4 Connecticut's. Yeah, 3 or 4 Connecticut's and Mass, and then the other outlying states. Okay, so I wanted to say hello to everybody, and we're going to get started. And we're going to talk tonight about detoxing, and it's not just about the detox itself. It's about detoxing, okay, and what it does to the body. Why do we want to do it? At the end, if you stay on, you're liable to get some specials coming up here, but so stick with us as we go. If we have questions like we did last week, I'd like to, ask questions if you want to. And
No, she's not.
I guess she's not. Whoever, Kim, she's not. Okay, how do I make that big again? Oh, share screen. Okay, but at first, before I start, I want to kind of give you, oftentimes people are so locked into doctors, medical community. I mean, and I understand there are times we need doctors, all right? I tell everybody, if you go and get hit by a car, you don't need me. You need a good doctor, okay, to put you back together. However, what happens is oftentimes we get on medications and we're encouraged to stay on those medications forever and ever and ever. And for every chemical that gets put in our body, it creates another issue, a negative issue. It's not ever a positive issue, unless you're trying to mask or get you through some severe pain or something like that. But for the most part, any long-term drug is a drug and it creates a problem. So I want to show you an example of somebody who did the program and they followed it to the letter. And I want to give you an idea of how the body changed. Now, this person, medicine was telling her that she was having constant yeast infections. She was having, she had a tumor that they were talking about having to go in and remove, etc. And she came in one day and she just said, I feel miserable. I feel bad. I'll back up a little bit because her mother passed away from cancer probably, a year ago? Probably a year ago. And her sister started the program, did fabulous for about a month, and then just quit, okay? So what I want to show you is what happened, and I'm going to ask Patty to bring this up. So if you look at the date started and you look at the numbers, 10 means it's the worst that the person believes it could be. And then you have zeros means it was a non-issue, okay? So we started on the 9th of April this year. And then in 30 days, you can see the change. Now, oftentimes people will do a program, they'll get partway through and they'll think, I feel so much better, because when you see, say, a fatigue as a 9 and all of a sudden it becomes a 0 in 30 days, people will say, you know what, I'm healed, I'm fixed, or whatever it is that you want to call it. But unfortunately, it's kind of like breaking your arm. If you take the cast off after 6 weeks or whatever it might be, the arm is not healed. You have to continue to take care of it in order to get it to where you want it to be. And then you see, as of June 17th, which was just day before yesterday, the differences in the numbers, okay? So in the way she feels and the way her body has responded. But if we go to the other slide, I want to just show you. Now, she is 34 years old, and her body fat percentage was 29.9%. If you go down, that was on the 9th of April. If you go down to the bottom, 22.7. That's in 2 months, okay? You look at her fat mass, she went from 45 to 28 in pounds. Her hydration, went from 45.2% to 52.4%. But her metabolic age, now she was 34, so her body was metabolically was 34. That's the age her body was functioning at. Most people would say, you know what, that's good. I'm 34, my body is 34, and I'm good. But really, we want to be below that age. And her metabolic age dropped from 34 to 19. So internally, she's working as a 19-year-old. And that's a wonderful thing when you think about as we age, we don't want our body to keep up with our birth dates. We want our body to stay younger than that so that we can live a quality life as we get older. Her BMI went from 25.1 to 20.8. Now, I will tell you that this young lady followed everything to the letter of the law, okay? She said, you know, I haven't had anything to drink but water. I haven't touched anything, virtually any carbs, anything for 2 months. And that's a result. So when people tell you that, you know what, you don't need to do all this stuff. You don't need, listen to your doctor. Those people aren't doctors. And I always tell people, we don't want to be doctors. We want to be healers. We want to help people get well. And more importantly, once you get well, to stay well. And that's the importance of doing the right things as your body ages. We want to keep it young, okay? So I just wanted to, her name is Heather. She's not on with us tonight. She's buying some horses and she's starting to do riding classes for people. So she was on her way to Oklahoma to pick up a couple horses with a horse trailer. She left right after we got done. So I just wanted to show that to everybody and just show you what can happen when we just do the right things and our body will respond. The body is very resilient, and there are people on the screen that I'm looking at that have done fabulous as well. But I just wanted to share that particular one because it was brand new and it was just a couple of days ago. So if there's any doubt that taking care of your body can be done without medication, that's a very, very good example. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about why. Okay, why do we want to detox? Why should we detox? I guess asking why do we want to detox, in some cases, we don't necessarily want to detox. I know for myself, I would rather eat than not. And detoxing becomes a part of every program for a period of time. So Maria was in today, and she's going to do a Candida program coming up soon. I was explaining to her that she's going to do a detox in the second week, and to clean out every organ in her body. So why? Why should we cleanse? Well, we want a healthy body. Symptoms of a toxic body are, I can't control my cravings. And those cravings range anywhere from sugars, they run carbs, breads, your cookies and all those kind of things, rice, a lot of rice, etc. Okay? Symptoms of toxic body. I am tired of headaches and feeling sick. I have cellulite that will not go away. I feel like I'm dragging all day long. Nothing I have tried has brought relief to my allergies. I wish my skin was clear and smooth. Now, if any of those things are nagging you or somebody you know, all that stuff is coming from inside the body, to include the way the brain functions, okay? It's been known that a lot of kids that have been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, it's internal issues more so necessarily than mental issues. The results after a cleanse is that I can finally say that I love my body. My skin looks and feels much better. My digestive issues and bloating are gone. I'm sleeping better than ever. I know every time I do a detox, I sleep really good. I feel like I'm in control. I have the energy to get through my day. It's been so much easier to make healthy eating choices. So those are the reasons, okay? Now, when we detox, oftentimes you will see things like, different detoxes on the market, okay? And they'll say a colon cleanse. Well, a colon cleanse is part of the detox, all right? And you have to understand that it's a very, very important, but it's not the only thing to cleanse. If you only cleanse your colon, it's like washing the driver's side panel of your car, okay? So it's just a part of it. It's a colon, though, that is the large intestine that eliminates waste during using the peristaltic action. And peristaltic action is very much like a caterpillar, and it squeezes the waste that comes through our body in order to get some nutrients and hydration from the waste. But it's the waste disposal. So if you think about that, it's the toilet of your body. It's flushing it out. The last step from the time you put something in your mouth till you eliminate it, it's the garbage. Okay, and everything that we eat, breathe, drink, and anything that our body is trying to slough off is eliminated through the colon. Everything. Okay, atrophied tissue, indigestible fiber in food. But when you think about the things you breathe, if you're working around chemicals, that all has to go through your colon. So you have to understand it's not just food. So people will say, well, I eat healthy. I don't need to detox. And that is absolutely untrue. You can't eat healthy enough to get your body to eliminate everything, especially in today's environment. So the colon is a part of the body that we have to address, because doctors will tell you that 95% of all disease begins in the colon. That's the one thing that probably us and doctors agree on. 95% of all disease begins in the colon. And almost every single chronic disease is a result of bacterial poisons, which get diffused into the body from the intestinal tract. Okay, so everything you can track all the way to cancer back to the colon. And that is why when people tell me they're not eliminating, they're eliminating too much, they have diarrhea all the time, they go back and forth, it's called IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And oftentimes medicine will say, well, you know, that's just the way your body is. And that is not true. In order to really understand your colon for everyone, you have to look at your stools. Your stools should be formed. They should almost be like a horseshoe shape. They should be light brown in color, float on the water, and little or no smell. So if you have a person in your household that comes out of the bathroom and tells you you might want to wait a little while before you go in there, you might have somebody that's not real healthy, okay? Or you tell you might need to wear nose plugs or something like that. I've heard it all. But that's an unhealthy colon. And you might want to be telling them they need to do something about it, because the colon will not heal on its own. You have to get in and clean it out, just like you would clean out anything else. But when you do a body detox, you're actually detoxifying the liver, the kidneys, the blood, the tissues, and the colon, which is a solid waste system. So you're cleansing everything. And that is why when people do a detoxification and they start out and they say, I feel headachy, I feel nauseous, I feel different things, it's because we're cleaning the liver and the kidneys. Now, when you clean it, all that waste has to get into your bloodstream and your circulatory system in order for the body to allow the body to get it out. So that's why we feel that headachy. And the longer you go between detoxes, normally the harder it is. And if somebody is really unhealthy, I won't let them start a detox right away because they just wouldn't be able to do it, because there's so much waste in those organs that the brain would just say, shut down and let's not do this. And it's too easy to give up, all right? So we start out more gentle, and then we work our way into the actual detoxification. So the detox takes these organs and it rests the system, okay? So as it cleans out the liver and the kidneys, it actually helps them to reset and to rest. The colon actually does rest for the entire amount of time that you do liquid when you're on your liquid days, whether it's 3 days, which is minimum, and some people do up to 10 days. Now, the young lady that I showed you, she did 2 detoxes in those 2 months. One was a 10-day, and the other one was, I believe, a 5 or 6 day. Okay, so she went above and beyond. But the important part is that her colon and those organs were cleaned out, and they were allowed to rest and rejuvenate themselves because she was not forcing them to do any digesting, processing, etc. Okay, so our colon, if you look at plumbing pipes that have been around for years, okay, 20, 30 years, and you cut into a pipe, you'll see built up waste in the pipe. And what happens, the opening of the pipe where the water may run through gets smaller and smaller because it's encrusted waste. Well, that's the same thing that happens in the colon. Our colon becomes incrustated with putrefied fecal matter. And I remember when I did my program, and Dr. Nelson had told me way back then to keep an eye on my stools, and if there was change, to let her know, which I did. And I saw greens and different colors. And when I called her and I told her, what is this? She told me it was putrefied fecal matter that had been encrusted in the colon, breaking loose and eliminated. Now, that sounds really disgusting, okay? I mean, we all bathe, we clean ourselves, we do the right things, and then to think that we have putrefied. I mean, putrefied means it's been there a while, okay? That's not just yesterday, all right? That means it's been there, it's been stuck, and blood has been flowing through that organ and picks up that waste and circulates it back through the body. And that is why people will get a lot of skin eruptions. They'll notice that their skin it gets pale looking sometimes, different things like that, because all the blood flow is running through, and that's the only organ that both your blood and your circulatory flow move through, okay? So it's picking up all that waste and circulating back around through the body. So a healthy, clean, and working colon is 100% critical if you want to maintain good health, okay? So you have to maintain, obviously, a good diet. Detoxing is not for weight loss. Detoxing is for cleansing. Detoxing is to get rid of the waste so the body doesn't store fat in order to hold on to or protect itself from the garbage that's in our body, and that's what the body does oftentimes, okay? Also, if you have a colon that it has encrusted matter, what happens is you can't get the nutrients because everything's plugged up, all right? So you can eat healthy, and yet you still can't get the nutrition. If you don't get nutrition, your body's not going to let go of body fat because it's looking for nutrients. And if it's not going to get the fuel it needs, it's going to use fat as a substitute for the fuel. Even though fat doesn't give you fuel, it's the only thing the body can do. So digestive ailments is caused by the colon, all right? It creates issues with acid reflux, burping, bloating, all that stuff is caused by issues with the colon. Now, if you take a look at your colon runs, for most people, it runs right, the transverse, that's the one across the top, runs right below the navel, okay? And then everything comes in from the small intestines, and your small intestines is packed in the center of the colon. And that's where you get a lot of your nutrients in the small intestines. And then it enters through this valve called ileocecal valve. And that valve is almost like a flutter valve, and it opens and shuts depending on what's in the colon. And when you eliminate stools, it opens up and takes more from the small intestines, which in turn, the small intestines will take it from the stomach or the other parts of the body. And then it moves it through, and it comes in and it moves it up through the ascending part of the colon. It turns at the flexor, and it goes through the transverse, which runs for most people right below the colon. Now, shorter people, it'll actually run a little bit higher. It'll be a little bit above the navel.
Wait, what's above the navel?
So for shorter people, it is a little bit higher. And oftentimes, if you have backups, I can have somebody lie down and take my fingertips and work the colon and find where the blockage is and massage that out. But then it runs through the transverse and then goes through the next flexor and goes down the descending colon. And then the bottom of the descending is the sigmoid. And then you go into the rectum and the anus, okay? So what happens is, if you're not moving everything right, you'll get down into the rectum and the anus and you'll end up with hemorrhoids. A lot of things because of the waste and different things and the blood not being purified properly. So you have to understand that that's the way the colon works. Now, the pictures on the bottom of this are actual pictures from colonoscopies and x-rays that doctors have taken, and that's how the colon looks. And it gets all full of pockets. And a lot of those pockets holds waste. And it's almost like if you took a balloon and you took some of the air and you just kind of twisted and the air would be on the outside, but all that waste never gets to move and it just sits there. And that's what can cause different things like diverticulosis and diverticulitis. Because what happens is, I know there's some people looking at that going, that's nasty, but that's what happens to our colon if these pockets are allowed to sit there with this putrefied fecal matter in them all the time, and it just starts getting infected and decaying, and then it just starts to rot the tissue within the colon, okay? So they're like balloon-like sacs that protrude out of the colon. That's a diverticulosis, all right? They can run up to as large as an inch, and people that seem to get a lot of parasites most likely have some degree of diverticulitis because of those pockets, there's no movement. So parasites will get in there and they'll just live there. Because think about the temperature of the body and what that is. That's just waste, okay? So, and then they start to multiply, and then all of a sudden you have all kinds of issues within your colon that's happening. Now, diverticulitis is inflammation or infection of the colon, okay? And what happens is those are also little pockets, and the tissue becomes very, very weak, and then they can rupture. And what happens is if your colon ruptures, all that waste spews into the whole system, and it can be deadly, all right? And it can be really, really dangerous for people that have colon issues. And I don't know if you've ever, for those of you, I know some of you have, there's a group when I was growing up called the Bee Gees. And one of their people thought that they had a stomach issue. They thought it was appendicitis. And they were in the hospital for like a day. And they, all of a sudden, their colon burst and they couldn't save them. Okay, that's, I can't remember which one it was, but that's actually what happens. And it can be very quick. And that's another reason we have to take care of the colon, okay? And if you look at the picture in the middle, you'll see the small intestines packed inside of the colon. So now we're gonna move on.
25% of people with diverticulosis will end up with diverticulitis.
Okay, well, one can lead to the other.
Right.
Okay. That was Patty's contribution here, so, okay. The differences are in their suffixes, osis meaning abnormal or diseased, and itis meaning the inflammation, okay? So if you get enough inflammation, then you're going to get the disease, just like any other part of your body. If you have, okay, somebody just said Andy Gibb, okay, thank you. If any part of your body has long-term inflammation, you are going to get disease, okay? But in this case, it's diverticulitis versus diverticulosis. Okay, now, the next thing that can happen if you don't take care of it is swollen tissues that contain veins, and that is called hemorrhoids. If anybody's ever had hemorrhoids, they are painful, very, very painful. And what happens is these tissues contain the veins, and they actually start to swell, and it forms like a little sac in the anal canal. And every time you move stools, and sometimes they hurt so bad, people just, the body almost shuts down and won't let you eliminate, okay? But it's all because of what's going on inside the body. The internal actually happens inside the rectum, and bleeding is the most common symptom, okay? So if you see bleeding in your stools, kind of rule of the thumb, if it's bright red, that is like a hemorrhoid of some sort. If it's dark red, that's a more concerning one, because it's normally from somewhere inside the colon. So it's just something that you kind of a little tidbit that you might want to keep in mind. External occur outside the anal canal, and obviously they become inflamed and very, very painful as well. Okay, now, okay, we moving along. Polyps, and the polyps actually happen within the colon. They can happen in the rectum. They can happen in the anus, many places. Most times people think that a polyp is dangerous. If you go in for a colonoscopy, oftentimes when they find polyps, they want to remove them. And they'll ask you in advance of the colonoscopy, do you want us to remove polyps if they're there? And most people say yes, because doctors say you're better off having them removed. I'm here to tell you, not to tell you what to do, but for me, a polyp is not necessarily a truly bad thing, because your body is made up of trillions and trillions of cells. And when some of those cells become problematic, the body kind of combines them, and they force them to different places in your body. And they'll sit there and until the body gets healthy enough just to remove them themselves and get rid of them. If you don't take care of yourself and you develop polyps and they sit there a long time, they can turn into a cancerous situation. Now, most doctors will tell you that all polyps are pre-cancer, and that is 100% right. But everything about your body is pre-cancer if you don't have cancer, okay? So if you don't have cancer, you are pre-cancer, okay? If you keep taking care of yourself, the odds of you getting cancer diminishes. If you don't take care of yourself, and we're all going to have cells that aren't functioning properly at times, then the odds of us getting cancer increases, all right? So they can be cancers or non-cancers, and they often signify as potential for colon cancer. Now, colon cancer is one of the most common cancers there are. Fortunately, it's one of the easiest to treat. I have a gentleman that had colon cancer probably 13 years ago, I'm going to guess 12, 13 years ago, Gordon, and now he's in his 80s, I believe, but he refused. They told him he wouldn't be alive in 90 days if he didn't do chemo and radiation. He refused, said, well, then I guess I'm going to die. And he came in here, and at least 12 to 15 years, he is he's a picture of health, okay? But he stays on things, and he does it. But that's a wonderful thing what the body can do. And the body is very resilient. The good Lord made us in a way that our body can take care of itself if we allow it to, okay? Parasites. Now, nobody likes to hear about parasites, okay? We all have had or have parasites. Everybody will get parasites. It's just like viruses. Everybody's going to have this virus that's going around. You will have it. Period. End of conversation. That's what they call herd immunity. Everybody has to have it in order to build up an immunity. Well, parasites, you don't need them to build up an immunity, but we're going to get them. Why? Because we're in contact with other people. You can get parasites from somebody else. You get parasites from door handles. You can get parasites from cruises. You can get parasites from eating undercooked meats. You can get parasites from eating somebody help me out.
What? I'm not
The
sure.
fish that, they don't cook.
Sushi.
Okay, thank you.
Sushi.
People that eat a lot of sushi are going to have parasites, guaranteed. Okay? And not saying don't eat sushi, but, just be aware that it's going to happen. And if you're healthy enough, the body will remove them. If you're not, they'll live. And there's some pictures of different types of parasites. That top one almost looks like a shark or something, okay? But I don't want that in my body, but nonetheless, okay? So 90%, Dr. Oz says, 90% of all humans will have a problem with parasites in their lifetime. Not have them, but they will become a problem, okay? Everybody will have them. Some people will never know they have them. We get people that actually start programs and will tell us that they saw parasites in their stools. Normally the first time they're alive and moving, and then after that, a day or so, you'll see them and they're not alive, okay? Not the same ones, they're different ones, okay? Just want to make that clear because figured Bob might have something to say, so I thought I'd better clear that right up.
And I'm
Okay.
sorry for those of you who are eating your supper while you're watching this.
Roundworms are the most common and measure up to 16 inches long, but detoxification works to remove and get rid of them. In our Zyto tests, a lot of times we see parasites. And so we do have different supplements to help people get rid of parasites to help make that move better. Signs of a toxic body, we kind of covered this. I'll kind of let you look at it. I won't go through every one, but you'll see it, mental confusion all the way to bowel irregularity, feeling shaky, hormone problems, low resistance to illnesses, etc. Those are the signs of a toxic body that needs help, okay? Dr. Nelson, Linda Nelson, who's my mentor and one of the loves of my life, I think, because she saved my life, says that detoxification is one of the most important factors in the promotion of good health and disease prevention. So when we start talking about detoxing, people that aren't on programs, people that are living their life, and we tell them detox at least once every 90 days. And normally when that 90 days comes, everybody kind of goes, I got this going, I got that going. But if you were something catastrophe was going to happen to you, you'd make time to do something to take care of yourself. Unfortunately, the business I'm in is prevention. We prevent it by doing it before there's a problem. Once there's a problem, it becomes much harder, okay? And that's why we preach, eat well, clean your body out, take care of it on a regular basis. So, eliminative organs that have to be cleaned regularly are your intestinal tract. We talked about that. How does everything come out? This is what comes out of our fecal matter through the bowels. Our skin is your largest eliminative organ in your body. It protects your body. It regulates body temperature, and it gets rid of some waste by excretion, okay? Now, people who sweat all the time, even though they're not really doing anything, they're very toxic, and that's part of the way the body is getting rid of some of the waste. It is not a healthy situation if you sweat by sitting around and doing nothing. Lungs, responsible for the exchange of oxygen, CO2, eliminates mucus by coughing, your runny nose, spitting up. Sometimes you wake up and you've got phlegm. That's all part of eliminating the thing. So today I was talking to somebody who was wearing a mask, and if you wear a mask too much, really, you're breathing in carbon dioxide all the time, over and over. You're breathing bad air. For your lungs, you need fresh air, good air. And that's why if you live in a moldy place, it's very, very hard on your lungs. So you really want to be careful what kind of air you're breathing. I'm just giving that as a hint there. Kidneys, your kidneys regulate body's fluid, mineral composition, and acidity. The toxins eliminate through the urine. Most of the time when you urinate, you will see your urine is, in the morning, is dark red. The thing is that during the day, your urine should be very light, maybe a light greenish color, maybe off green. You don't, if it's dark all the time, you're overly toxic. And liver is best known for its role in detoxification and, transforming the harmful waste, drugs, chemicals, whether you breathe it, you take it, it's in your food, it gets rid of that. And it's also the source of bile, which breaks down body fat, okay? Now, somebody just asked a question, said, what if your family is prone to cancer and you don't have the polyps removed? Okay, well, cancer is not hereditary. We have to understand that cancer is not hereditary. If you live the same lifestyle as your mom, your dad, your whoever had cancer, and you live the same lifestyle because you have the same genes, that equates to an end result. So bad eating, certain structure or cell structure, certain DNA can cause it. But if you clean up your diet and you do that, you can change, all right? So we have to understand, and so many people say, well, mom had breast cancer, grandma had breast cancer, so I'm gonna have breast cancer. That's not true, okay? You have to live a better lifestyle, all right? You might keep an eye on it a little bit closer, but I would not say, because you have polyps and your mom or brother or sister had colon cancer, that you should automatically have the polyps removed. Now, I'm not saying don't have them removed, but anytime somebody goes inside your body and starts cutting, it can create problems all by itself. So that's my theory. I don't tell people what to do. I just give them things to think about and to mull over in their head. Because remember, every time you go into a doctor, they would either want to give you chemicals or cut, okay? Normally if there's anything wrong. So just keep that in mind. I hope I answered the question. Okay, so because of all these organs that are cleansed, you have what is called a healing crisis. Now, most crises, if that's a word, is not a good thing. But a healing crisis is a good thing when you develop a low-grade fever. And you can get this on detoxes, and every detox is different. You can get a headache, a runny nose. You can go through a little bit of confusion, kind of a mental confusion, irritability. I know when we detox, there's times when we detox, or Patty will say, I'll say something, how come, what about what's going on here? She goes, I'm detoxing, so just kind of back up, okay? And so things like that can happen. You can get a little bit of anxiety. It's not going to last for days. It can be a day, it can be a few hours. Joint or muscle pain, cold or mucus discharge, coughing, diarrhea, foul stools, okay? When I say foul, they smell. Dark urine, skin eruptions, coated tongue. If you detox, second day, third day of liquid, look at your tongue. It's white because it's elimination, okay? Looks like thrush. If it's really coated, and some people actually grow like little tiny mushrooms in their tongue, okay? And they'll actually grow out of the tongue while you're detoxing. That means you're overly toxic and the body is using every avenue to get rid of it. And sometimes you can go through a day of feeling fatigued, but it's not because you're detoxing and not eating, it's because your body is cleansing and everything is moving through it. So think of it in reverse of catching a cold or the flu or something. When it gets in your body, you feel that way, okay? And you have to rest and let it, your body take over. Let your immune system kick in. When you're cleaning your body, it's in reverse. It's already in your body and it's got to come out. So that's why we talk about healing crisis. So anybody who's done a program with me has heard me say, you're going through a healing crisis. I'm happy for you, okay? Good for you. So again, the benefits: increased energy, reduced dependencies, mind gets clear, a healthy lifestyle. It rejuvenates your body. It's an anti-aging, just like that young lady went from 34 to 19. restores peristaltic action, gets a colon moving. You'll lose some weight for those of you who want to lose weight. Toxins, mucus, gets you eliminating better, breaks bad eating habits. After I detox, I don't want to eat bad, okay, for the first week at least, okay, until you start doing something and then your brain says, oh, that was pretty good. So you have to be careful of that. And it purifies those organs we talked about and gets wellness. So think about Herring's Law of Cure. When you detox, you do a program, your body heals inside to outside. It heals top to bottom. And the healing symptoms move in reverse. So if you're going to detox every 3 months and you have some issues, as you start your detox, if something happened within that 3 months, you're going to feel that almost like it happened the most recent back, then it moves backwards. All right. So you experience some of the recurring old ailments. And for people who have never done a program, and even some of the detoxes, you can be digging very deep into your body, and you can actually be experiencing some things that happened to you in your childhood. All right. So that was developed by a gentleman in the early 1800s, Constantine Herring. That's how it got its name, Herring's Law of Cure. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you some tips, okay, about detoxing. When you detox, the first and foremost, you want to know why, okay? Why are you detoxing? Anything that we do, we have to have basically a why. Why do we want to do it? Why do I not want to eat for 3 days? Why do I want to maybe feel some of those things that happened to me before? You've got to pick out a why. And the stronger the why, it can be because I want to see my kids grow up. I want to see my grandkids. I want to play with them. I want to have a good retirement, be able to have a why. Don't just say I'm going to do it. You got to have a why. Okay. I want you to start, when you start to detox and think about your health, the first thing I want you to do is detox your pantry. Okay. Detox your pantry. Clean out the garbage. Too many times I hear people say, you know, I got a lot of stuff in my refrigerator, my freezer, I want to eat it before I start taking care of myself. That's kind of silly, okay? That's like saying, you know what, I got you know, dirt all over my body, but I'm just going to go roll around the mud for a while because it just, you know, it's there. If it's unhealthy for you, don't do it. Detoxing means exercise. We got to get movement. If you don't move, nothing happens. If your lymphatic system is very still, you're going to be toxic because things aren't moving. You're going to get toxins in your body. So you have to move your body. I'm not saying you have to run marathons, but you've got to move. You got to do something, get your heart rate up, okay? You have to decompress. Now, decompressing means let go of the stress. I know, and for those people that were on the Zoom last night, we talked a lot about this. Mental health is huge, okay? If you don't take care of your mental health and get rid of some of the stress, you are going to be sick. You're not getting rid of all the stress, but you got to learn and take time away from the stress. If it's friends, sometimes you have to walk away from friends for at least a little while. If it's family, sometimes you got to talk to your family and tell them what it's doing to you. If it's anything, you've got to make some changes or at least give yourself some time to decompress and just relax and, you know, do meditation, do some praying, whatever it is that makes you feel good and gives you hope. And number 5 is sleep. So many people, when they become toxic, they can't sleep, okay? And anybody who tells me, and Michael is on here, he used to, when he first started, he was telling me he sleeps about 3 hours a night, and that was okay for him. It is not okay. We cannot survive if we don't rest our body, all right? We have to rest our body. So when the why is clear, the how is easy, okay? When you know why you want to do it, then you just say, you know what, I'm going to do it. So here's a quiz. How much does your commitment to lifestyle change when we talk about the outcome? Okay. It doesn't matter. Supplements will do all the work. If you think that, you're wrong. I've told many people, probably someone that's on the Zoom right now, that you can take every single supplement I have in this room every day. If you eat really bad, it's not going to work. Okay? It's a commitment to lifestyle means eating well, hydration, exercise, positive thinking, etc. So, doesn't matter all. Is it 20% or 100%? All right? Hopefully, you're looking at the right answer. Okay? But everybody's answer is different. So, the clean out your pantry means get rid of processed foods, chemicals, and sugars. To include, like we just talked about, get rid of any supplements that have sugars and processing in them, okay? Do not use them. You're better off with nothing than that. You need to add the right food. We talked about the 17 superfoods, okay? The abundance foods, eat right. So you're looking at the 17 healthiest foods you can possibly eat, unless you have candida. The fermented cabbage you cannot have, okay? I just want to get that clear.
Or the fruit.
Or the fruit, okay? But otherwise, that is health. Those are the things that you want to be eating. You need to remove coffee, sodas, alcohol. Replace them with positive, healthy things. Now, I'm not going to tell you never, ever in the rest of your life have a cup of coffee. I personally will not, because I suffered so bad when I came off of coffee, I just said I will never do it again. And I've lived up to that for 21 years. But, you know, it's okay to have a drink, but it's got to be in moderation, okay? Replace it with things that give you energy, will help your body and still taste good. Now, some people don't like the taste of the greens, but there's other things you can mix in them to make it more palatable. Me, I can drink the greens without any issues or problems, okay? Next is move your body. Increase your lymphatic circulation. Get your heart rate up for 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week, minimum, okay? So it's important that you carve out time in your day during the week to get that going. So don't forget that. You've got to get the cardiovascular system up. You've got to have your lymphatic system moving, etc. Rest and reset. You have to decrease your stress levels because stress increases cortisol. One of the reasons that almost everybody that has candida has cortisol issues, and because they're under stress. Stress from the body being unhealthy, a lot of times mental stress, people around them, things happening, and they'll gain weight in the abdomen, okay? And it looks like an inner tube wrapped around the center oftentimes. We have to learn to decompress. Things like tranquility and different things that we have will help you to calm your body and relax and help you make yourself healthy. Importance of sleep. Again, if you don't sleep, you're never going to get restorative activity in our body. Much like a computer, sometimes you got to shut it down in order for it to reset. Unfortunately, you can't just shut it down for 10 to 15 seconds and go again. You need, anywhere 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep. As sleep resets and restores your energy, it says 7.5, men 7.5, women 8 to 9. If you have trouble going to sleep or staying asleep, we have our sleep supplement, and we also have a couple of other things that we use. Serotonin for people that can't stay asleep will help to build up the levels of serotonin, because melatonin helps you go to sleep, serotonin helps you stay asleep. Okay? All right. So detoxing isn't just, a week every so often. I'm doing it once a month now that this COVID thing is going on, and I'm going to start a pre-cleanse on Sunday. That's my month is up already. Goes pretty quick. And I'm going to start a pre-cleanse, but detoxing is every day. Take care of yourself. Put the right things in your body. Do the right things every single day. Keep yourself healthy. Keep yourself vibrant. All right? You only have one body. You only have one life. And that's all we have. And you want to live that healthy life until the good Lord says it's time to go. All right? If you're living a life and you're miserable because you hurt, you ache, you can't move, you can't think, what is the point? Okay? The earth can be a cruel place. So we got to take care of ourselves. We've got to do the right things because that is the only way that we're going to survive. Okay? There's so much stress coming down the pike all the time, and it just works us to death. So we have to fight back, and there's ways to do it, and that's what we do. So what are some questions? I'm hoping I got some questions. Raise your hand, jump up and down. Heather.
Is your sleep, is that the same as the tranquility that I took back in the day?
No.
Okay.
No, our sleep is melatonin. Okay? And sleep, the difference between the sleep and the tranquility, great question. Tranquility calms. That's why you take it in the morning and sometimes throughout the day, depending on how stressed you are. But at least in the morning and around bedtime because it calms. So raise your hands. How many of you have ever said to yourself, my brain won't shut off? Anybody ever said that? Okay. That is untrue. Your brain will shut off. But as long as your body doesn't have the right levels of melatonin and serotonin, you're thinking. Now, I'm going to tell you, unless you're sound asleep or dead, your brain better be working. Okay? So you want it to work. You don't want to be awake and your brain not working because then we'd be brain dead. I think we all know some people we might think that, but it's not. That's not what we want. Okay? But sleep has a melatonin. And you take that right before bed to help you go to sleep. Where tranquility is not a melatonin. Okay? Tranquility has different things in it. Okay. Sold the last one a little bit ago. It actually has a little bit of catnip in it. If you have a cat and you put it on your table or counter, your cat will be on the table or counter. Okay? Because and if you ever give catnip, what do? They'll stretch out and lay down after they have a good time. Okay? But that's what happens with, there's different things in it. So it's to calm the brain, not to put it to sleep. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want me to read what's in it?
Yes.
I have it. I have
Sure.
it. It has in it passion flowers, catnip, like you said, chamomile, hops, lavender, mirth gum, and spearmint, and valerian root.
And all those are just calming. You know, all those just calm the body and relax the body. Not for sleep as much, because most people don't sleep because they can't relax. All day long, they're like this. They're just going. And then we say bedtime, and then we go, my brain won't shut off. Well, that's because you've just got it revved up so high that it can't. Your body won't allow it. Okay? Who else has a question? Okay, there's 3 chats there, maybe. Go ahead, Kim.
So you mentioned a secondary thing besides tranquility and sleep, I guess the third thing. You haven't mentioned that to me before, but I can fall asleep fine. Usually once I'm asleep, I'm fine. But there are times when I could just lay there and stare at the ceiling and can't go to sleep. But sleep doesn't seem to work for me. I tried it.
After sleep, you wake up and then you can't go back to sleep?
No, I can't. Sometimes I just can't get to sleep, but I've tried the sleep.
Okay.
And it doesn't help.
And melatonin would help you on those occasions. Okay?
But isn't that the sleep?
That is a sleep. So even after
I've tried that. It doesn't.
Okay.
I have it, but it doesn't help.
Huh? Yeah, then take 2. Try that. Who else? Okay, I got Muriel there. Yes.
What was my question?
You wake up
Mute
and
me.
can't go back.
I'm sorry. I was thinking the same thing, John. You said something about serotonin earlier. Is that in the sleep
No,
Or is that different?
serotonin is, melatonin helps you go to sleep. Serotonin helps to keep you asleep.
Is it a
Okay.
separate, is it a separate,
Supplement, yes.
yeah, supplement? Okay,
it
so
is.
probably, I would probably need both. I've been using Tranquility to put me to sleep at night. That's not working.
Okay, well, you're going to do a Candida program and you're going to see some changes. So before we add a whole bunch more, we're just going to get you healthier and then we'll see how that, and then we can add, okay?
Okay,
A lot of times when people go through a program, they say, I can't sleep, I can't, and then all of a sudden they start sleeping, okay?
yeah,
I'd
okay.
rather have you sleep by just
Naturally.
adding other things. Even though it's not chemicals, the less that you need, the better.
Right, I get it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, somebody just said, I fall asleep immediately and then I wake up and go on the computer or cell phone. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna tell you. The worst thing you do when you wake up is to get on the cell phone or the computer or turn on the TV. That is the worst thing you can do, okay? Because those items are electronic. First of all, they stimulate. Number two, you're asking your brain when you go on that stuff to become active. You're saying, let me watch this show so I can concentrate on the show. Let me see who's been Facebooking and made comments about my comments, etc. You're going to be awake, okay? Now, in an hour or two, you might get sleepy and go to sleep. The best thing you can do, number one, is turn nothing on and try to go to sleep, or have something that you like to read, okay? Reading actually calms the mind. How many of you will pick up a book and read, and next thing you know, you're taking a nap? All right? Because it calms. Reading is calming. But turning on your TV, turning on the computer or the phone, absolutely, I would highly, highly recommend you do not do. And I used to turn on my TV all the time, and I just got to the point where, you know what? It doesn't work because it stimulates too much. Okay? What is
Can I
it?
add something to that? Can I add something to that?
Hello.
So when Dr. Nelson was on with us several weeks ago, she
Uh-huh.
mentioned that when she can't fall asleep, she puts her tongue on the roof of her mouth and then takes deep inhales and then very long exhales and does that several times. I've done it. It works.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, Ann.
I don't
so-
know what that's all about, but it does.
Okay, so Ann, tell everybody what you do. Demonstrate.
Well, you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth,
Okay.
and then you just take the biggest deep breath you can take, and then take a longer deep breath.
Through your
and
nose or
then-
mouth.
I do it through my nose,
Okay.
and then exhale. And if you think you can't exhale anymore, just exhale some more. And I do it like 2 or 3 times, and pretty soon I'm asleep.
Nice.
I just did it once.
So bye-bye.
Okay, see, there are little tricks, okay? There are little tricks. Don't turn on your TV, okay? But do that, try that, okay? And I'd rather people do that than become dependent on something to take to sleep, all right? Because let me tell you about sleep. Sleep becomes a habit. If you get in the habit of waking up every morning at 3 o'clock to go to the bathroom, you're going to wake up every single morning at 3 o'clock, whether you have to go to the bathroom or not, and your brain will say it's time to go to the bathroom. Okay? Most of you have kidneys strong enough that you can wait another 2-3 hours, but we have to teach ourselves not to. And when you get up and you start moving, guess what? You're going to stub your toe and then you're wide awake. All right? Or once you start moving around, you're more awake. So the longer you can just stay in bed and sleep, the better off you are, and you're training your body. Again, a show of hands. People say, okay, I have to be up to go to work the same time every day. How many of you pretty much wake up without an alarm clock? Because automatic. It never fails, okay? Because we teach ourselves to do it. It's a habit. So get in the habit, and we'll do that drill that Ann just mentioned, and I've forgotten about that. Thank you, Ann. Because Dr. Nelson did say that, and try it. I'd like to get some feedback. Okay. Who?
Anna,
Anna, go ahead.
unmute first, Anna.
Anna, gotta unmute.
Oh,
There you go.
no, I just said I raised my hand because I do that. I wake up immediately.
Oh, okay,
But I
okay.
just can't sleep at night.
Okay, try that drill.
Okay,
Okay, let me know how it works.
How
okay.
did they know?
Okay, who else has a question?
Robert,
Robert?
All right, so what is the deal if you get, like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and you wake up and then you can't go back to sleep? What's that all about?
Normally, it's a lack of serotonin. Normally.
So what do you take?
Do you do the what?
So what do you take?
Well, serotonin is not necessarily something you take at night when you can't sleep. Even the sleep, if you take the melatonin and then you fall asleep 5 hours after your sleep, you're probably going to have to get up in about 2 or 3 hours. So the melatonin still might make you feel groggy. So you don't necessarily want to take anything. My suggestion, if you're going to take anything at all, would be tranquility and calcium. Okay, if you're going to take something, because that'll never make you groggy. It won't make you anything like that. Okay, but normally when you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep, and maybe you do what Ann told us, have you tried that?
No, it hasn't happened for a while, but sometimes what happens is I start thinking, and then I'm sunk.
As soon as you wake up, your brain's going to start working.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And that's why REM sleep, REM stands for rapid eye movement. When you go into REM sleep, you could really, if you're in true REM sleep, somebody can come in and practically cut you and you don't really pay attention or know it. Okay? That's true sleep, deep sleep. Most of us never get into that deep of a sleep, but that's true REM sleep. So what happens is as soon as you come out of any amount of REM sleep, your brain's going to start functioning. That tells you, hey, is it time to get up? Oh, it's still the middle of the night, etc. So that's what happens, and we want your brain working when you're awake. As soon as you wake up, we want your brain to work, okay, and be thinking. So try that drill, and if that doesn't work, then if it does come back, you said it's been a while, then we'll look at it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can you review the pre and post cleanse routine and the purpose of doing them? Okay, great.
excellent.
Okay, pre-cleanse, minimum 2 days. I get people all the time say, oh, I only want to do 1 day. No, 2 days. Why? Because you're cutting back on what you're putting in your body. So we take away, normally we take away the meats, we take away all the sugars, we take away the carbs. So that's less your body has to break down. So it's kind of easing into it. I get people that detox, believe it or not, and they'll say, the night before liquid, I'm eating as much as I can consume because I'm not going to eat for 3 days. So, I need to get ahead of the game. That is 100% backwards. Okay. You want to ease up. And it makes your liquid much harder if you do it that way. So if you go into it where you cut back, like for me, today and tomorrow are going to be much less. And none of the stuff that I might put in that I normally would put in. You can eat fish on pre-cleanse, okay, because it breaks down very easily. But you don't want the heavier meats. You really don't want any red meat. Shouldn't be eating much pork anyway, but you don't want that. You want a lot of vegetables, fruits, because it's easier to digest. It starts to help the cleansing process. Then you do your liquid for however many days, minimum 3. And then post-cleanse, if you started eating right away a lot of different foods, you'd get the worst stomach ache in the world. Because go back to your colon and think about that colon that you saw. We talked about peristaltic action, which is movement, okay? For at least 3 days, it didn't have to move. Now all of a sudden you pump in stuff that has to break down, it needs time to start up. And that's why we tell you the first food you put in, make a soup, something that's cooked. Even though it's less nutritious, it's easier and it gets the system moving. And most of the time, post-cleanse, you have some broke up putrefied fecal matter that needs to move out. So something soft and gentle will help to make that move and make it much easier for you. So just make sure post-cleanse and getting back on food. If you jump back into too much food, your cravings are going to come back much faster. So you want the right foods going into it. So really, you've got 7 days minimum for people not on programs, 7-day minimum that you're eating really healthy, not eating anything for 7 days. And that's why your energy. Digestion takes energy. So again, raise the hands. You eat a big meal, Thanksgiving, whatever it might be. Mom makes this really good meal. And you sit down, you eat to your heart's content. What do you normally want to do when you're done? Take a nap. Because your body says digestion comes first, no matter what. And if you don't take a nap, you're going to feel sluggish and logy and all that stuff. So that's why you do pre and post cleanse.
But also with the pre-cleanse, the 2 days, because you want to start taking the fiber.
Yes, you want to take your supplements during the post because that starts getting the nutrition and cleansing of the colon, et cetera. Yes. Good point. Thank you.
That's why 2 days pre-cleanse.
Yeah. 2 days of taking the supplements and then the post cleanse. And people that do the classic detox, again, this one has extra fiber, cleanse, and detox. You need to keep taking them till they're gone. Oftentimes people say, well, I finished my liquid, I'm done. You don't want to do that. There's a method to getting everything done. You take it till it's gone. Your total body cleanse, which is not as deep, wherever it is, which is not as deep, it ends in 7 days, but it's designed because that's why you drink the greens along with taking the supplements, okay, for the colon and the intestinal tract. So, is that Mike or Kim?
Kim. So you're talking about taking the supplements till they're gone, but on my 4th day of detox, I'm taking 4 detox. Do I keep taking 4 or do I go back down to 2 in the post?
Go back down to 2. Go back down to 2. You increase your detox herb on your 2nd and 3rd day of liquid. If you do more than 3 days of liquid, it stays at 4 and 4. Why? The detox herb purifies and cleans your blood. So the longer you haven't eaten, we want more cleansing of the blood. If I could get people that are on aspirin, people that are on blood thinners to start taking the detox herb, most of them would get healthy much quicker and be able to get off of that stuff. Because you don't want thin blood, you want clean blood. And that's part of detoxing. Judy, you had a question.
Yeah, can you hear me, John?
Yep.
Okay, is it better to sleep on your side or your stomach? Like if you snore, I've heard the side is better. Is that a better quality sleep? Do you happen to know that?
Well, if you're snoring, you're not getting enough oxygen. No matter if you lie in your stomach, back, side, doesn't matter. If you're snoring, you're not getting enough oxygen. That's what snoring is, okay?
Mhm.
So oftentimes, especially for men, we snore more because we carry our body fat higher in the upper stomach. And when you lay on your back, it moves up and it blocks your cardiovascular. That is why men that are heavy normally don't live as long because of where we carry it, okay? And that's why the importance of knowing your visceral fat ratings, all right? But snoring is never a healthy thing. So I would tell you that if you are snoring, you need to take more care of your body, look at body weight and visceral fat. And if not, then sleeping on your side is a much better option than sleeping on your back.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
John.
Georgiana, did you have a question?
So is raw food harder to digest? The reason for our having raw food instead of cooked food for cleansing is raw.
What do you mean, vegetables?
Yeah. Is that harder to digest? I would think would be harder to digest.
Yes, raw veggies are harder to digest than cooked veggies. Okay.
So what would be the benefit for detoxing having raw food? Vegetables.
Why would you eat raw food?
Yeah.
Well, raw food is roughage. Raw food helps to clean and scrub the colon walls, okay? raw food, because of the fiber in it, helps to lower cholesterol, blood pressure, all that. So that's why it's important to have some raw. But when I say don't eat raw and it's harder to digest, I'm talking about on your post cleanse, on the first meal, the first half a day, you're better off having a cooked soup, veggie soup, or at least steam your vegetables. Okay, so you don't want to eat a bunch of raw carrots or celery or some of that, because it is harder to get your colon started. And you eliminate but you do want to go into some raw. Okay, that's why salads are so good and all that stuff. But you do want to get into raw by the end of the first day and into the second day. Because raw, even though it's harder, it's still really, really good for you. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
Deb, what do you have?
There we go. I'm really excited. I was just texting my husband because I asked him, have I stopped snoring? Because he used to do this impersonation of me that would have me rolling on the ground laughing. I would wake myself up from snoring, and I can't remember the last time I snored. Like, it started shortly after maybe the weight started coming off. I've been coming to you guys for about a year. And I just realized I don't snore anymore.
What did your husband say?
He just verified. He said, yeah, I haven't heard any.
Okay.
He's like rocking me.
And see, that's part of health. When, there's a gentleman going through the program was on sleep apnea. And, medicine will put you on sleep apnea and make you believe that you have to be on a machine forever. And that's not true. You can take care of yourself and get off of those things, okay? Forced oxygen is not good either. We know that from the COVID, okay? When they put people on respirators and force oxygen in, that's really hard on the body. So if you get yourself healthy so you don't need the machines and the hoses and all that noise and stuff, you're healthier. And that's really, really important. So good job.
Good, Deb.
Who else? Anybody else?
Judy, you have another question?
Do I just wanted to ask seeds and diverticulitis. Number one, do seeds cause that diverticulitis if you eat too many of them? And the other thing is the smoothies. Are they easier to digest than food?
Okay, I'll answer the second question first. Smoothies are easier to digest because it's liquefied. Yes.
Okay.
Seeds never cause diverticulitis or diverticulosis. Seeds will irritate it once you have it. So the problem is once you get this issue in your colon, and then you eat things with seeds, they get lodged in those areas that are infected. And it's kind of like if you had a sore on your hand and you took a little bit of gravel and you rubbed it in that sore, it's going to rip it open. Okay, even salt or anything, that's going to rip it open. So that's what happens in the colon. The seeds didn't cause it, but once you have it, then the seeds will become irritants. So what happens is people quit eating fruit, they'll quit eating nuts, all that stuff, which has a lot of nutrition. So the key is don't eat them if you have it, but you got to heal it so that you can eat it.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, Muriel.
Julio commented on
Julio, okay, Julio, before, okay, I used to snore really bad, not anymore, thanks. You're welcome, Julio. We love you. No more is gone now, okay. If you want to say something, Julio, you can unmute and talk if you want. Okay, Muriel, what do you have?
I was just wondering if there is a benefit of taking DE every day.
Taking what?
Diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth.
We put that in our pool filter. I'm serious.
I mean, a lot of people take it.
I have to do more research on it.
I think it's supposed to kill parasites.
Well, anything will help to kill parasites. I mean, so will good bone broth. So will, moving your stools regularly, eating right. I'd have to research that though before I'd say yes to it.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. From Don to everyone, seeds get caught in pockets. Yeah. Yeah, the seeds get caught in the pockets of the colon when you have those issues with diverticulitis or diverticulosis. Okay, anybody else? Susan, you haven't asked anything. Bill, you haven't asked anything. Carol?
That's true, but it doesn't cause diverticulitis.
That's what I said. Yep. Doesn't cause it, but it's an effect of if you have it. It can make it hurt. Sandy, how about you? Do you have a question? I think you're being shy. Muriel?
Yeah. Do we normally have these little pockets, or are they caused by not the right diet?
They're caused by poor health, and which poor health is caused by bad diet. Yes.
Will they go away once your diet is better, or do they always stay? Oh, they do.
No,
Okay.
they'll heal. They'll
Okay.
heal. That's the importance. Now, if you have it, you probably have to detox more often for a while.
Right.
Because,
Right.
you know, you got to keep the colon at rest. You got to keep it. But again, I want to go back to the seed thing. If you already have them, you don't want to be eating berries and stuff that have seeds in them, strawberries and stuff, because they will get in there and they'll make it hurt.
Right.
Okay? It's not the cause of it, but it's the effect after you have that problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Anybody else? Okay. I hope, is there any more questions?
No.
Okay. I hope everybody learned something. We're going to start a group detox. Like I said, coming up, anybody wants to join us, welcome. What I want to tell you is that next week,